What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Common Sense Living, the show where we discuss financial and economic trends, business topics, gold and silver, and much, much more. So, today's going to be an introductory video if you're just getting into silver stacking. And I'm going to lay out 4 basic rules I think you should be following if you've just been getting into it really here the last few months. So, the first is going to be to buy from a reputable dealer. And the reason for doing this is pretty obvious. You're going to want to make sure when you're buying, you're not buying some sort of fake, you're not buying some sort of rip off. Now, again, you don't really know what you're doing when you're first starting out, and you may go out and you may find an incredible deal somewhere and think you're getting such an incredible deal. Um, but really, it could be something that's counterfeited. Could be coming from another country, and you may not be able to recoup that loss. Now, personally, I would suggest starting out just buying from the big bullion dealers, APMEX, JM Bullion, SD Bullion. There's definitely a few others that are reputable. And you may have a good local shop too, and that's fine. But remember, you're much more likely, and this is just my opinion, to not get as good as of a deal. Now that you should still not have to worry really about counterfeits or getting ripped off or anything at a local shop. And in terms of the local shops, it makes sense. They're going to pass on, more of the overhead. They don't have the economies of scale that a lot of these bigger dealers do. And over time, as you buy more and more and you learn more and more about the different tools, things that you can do to check the purity of the metals, um, then you can kind of go out and see who has the best deals and where you should really buy it from. I'd add also to that sometimes you really, like anything, you have to shop around and kind of look to see what you should be getting and when. Now, the second rule I have is really just to learn the premiums and what you should be paying. Now, silver, it's valued at spot price, which is the current value of the metal in the market. The premium is just going to be an increase in the value over the spot you pay. Now, typically, the dealers, they're going to be buying it at less, maybe a little bit more than spot, and then you're going to be buying a higher premium amount than whatever they're paying. So just say, for example, the dealers buy something at $20 or $21 spot, you're going to be paying a little bit more than that, and then they're going to be pocketing the difference. Now, premiums are going to depend on a number of things. So, for example, supply and demand is going to be one thing. Also, whether you buy coins, rounds, um, and then also or coins or bars, and then also brand as well. So as demand increases, expect that silver price premium to increase. We're seeing a lot of that right now, especially with, and we've been seeing this a while with American Silver Eagles. Now, if you sell with high demand, it does benefit you on that side, because maybe you don't just get spot, maybe you get a little bit more than spot. You'll get spot and a little bit of premium. Now, again, buying rounds or bars, that's going to affect your premium really, just because the round, they're going to have that additional amount attached because they cost more to manufacture. So you can expect to pay more on something like a kilo bar or 100 ounce bar, or your premium should be less than if you bought a 1 ounce coin. Now, typically, brand's going to matter as well. Your generics are going to have lower premiums than your well-known names. And third rule, in my opinion, is to collect a variety of silver. And what I mean by this is to get an assortment of bars and coins, and not all from the same brand and not all the same size. Now, some people, they just prefer to either do, maybe fill up a monster box, or they prefer to collect all of the same thing, and that's fine. But for me personally, I prefer to keep my bars big. I like to have either 100 ounce bars, I also like, the 10-ounce bars, and then coins. I like to keep those small, um, 1 ounce or less, and then really with less, the 1 ounce or less. That typically I'll buy, gold, since gold's so expensive. And for a 1 ounce coin of gold, you may be paying, you're probably going to be paying, depending on the market value, anywhere from like 1,800 to maybe 2,200, depending on the time and everything. Now, the last thing I would say is that don't fret about the everyday price of the metals, where it's going, where it's headed, what you paid, if you've lost money. This isn't crypto, it's not penny stocks. Um, and in terms of the value, nothing's guaranteed to go up over time, but if we look at the history, it tends to keep up. And really, depending on the time period you looked at, could even outperform the stock market. Now, I tend to save big and make big purchases, try and get lower premiums. But I also believe that dollar cost averaging could be a really effective strategy as well. Maybe buying a little bit every couple weeks or month. Um, Premiums would be a little bit higher, but still, being consistent, it's key, too. So remember, precious metals, they retain their value for the most part. In the long run, they appreciate. And as well, keep shopping around, keep looking for the best deals. And history is on the side of metals. So that's all I got for today. Please let me know any thoughts you have, any other keys. If you're an experience with silver stacking, and you're wanting to give some advice to some of the new people out there. I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for tuning in.